Tonight on PM Express, a conversation about the revamping of the Tema Oil Refinery and the proposed partnership between TOR and Torrentco. This has generated controversy, with CSOs questioning the capacity of Torrentco to give the country value for money. Now, Imani Ghana has been conducting some research, and it has stated categorically it does not believe this company, Torrentco, have what it takes to revive TOR. But TOR, on the other hand, says it is the only option available. You've seen a statement recently, which I'll be sharing with you, by the senior staff of TOR, who say that is the only available option to them. Remember the conversation.
The new Chevy Silverado HD puts you in command. Own strength with its enhanced available Duramax 6.6-liter turbo diesel V8. Own the lake with its available advanced towing technology. And own technology with an available 13.4-inch diagonal touchscreen. The new Chevy Silverado HD. Own work, own play, own life. Learn more at Chevy.com. Find new roads. Chevrolet.
Has been over the period has been how to revive TOR. So ideas such as partnership shouldn't really be a problem, right? So why the fuss? Let me share a few insights with you to set the tone for this conversation. And of course, these are the issues that Imani Ghana is raising. In their research, they say that TOR requires $500 million to $1 billion to address its issues. The issue of TOR has been a long-standing one. Now, the announced strategic partnership, you remember Decimal Capital, that also faced delays. So now, Torrentco Asset Management is the one on board right now. It emerged that, they are now having the negotiations with TOR so that this whole deal will be sealed, so that Torrentco will be the one managing TOR's asset. This is where the issue is. Imani Ghana says credibility of Torrentco is questionable because they say, looking at their track record, Torrentco doesn't have what it takes to revive TOR. It also says that if you look at how the whole thing is skewed, then it's rather in favor of Torrentco rather than the state. So Torrentco rather will benefit more than the state. Now, this is the breakdown of the deal if it finally gets to be sealed. The lease period is 6 years. Now, barrels to be refined per year is 8 million, and annual rent is $1 million. Look at the Senior Staff Association. They say that looking at TOR's challenges over the period, this is the best option for TOR, and Torrentco is the only available option. Now look at it says that the chairman of the Senior Staff Association has also been explaining that there's a clause in there. If they finally seal this agreement, there is opportunity for TOR to terminate the deal if they have a better alternative. So for now, they haven't found that better alternative yet. Torrentco is the one they feel is the best company, and then it's been condemning opposition for the deal not to be done with Torrentco. Now, there's been efforts severally, because if you look at since 2018 till date, TOR has been running a loss. Their profit net has always been negative, and those figures I'll be sharing with you shortly. They've been given the opportunity to actually help revive the company, but those efforts have been. They offered TOR the chance to refine condensates for revenue. 2.5 million was missing out of the deal. I'm sure, you recall, it's still fresh in our minds. And a committee that worked on it, they worked 8 months to reconcile the TOR's losses. Where are we? We are still at square one. So this, if you look at that deal, the opportunities that were given for the condensate, to refine condensates, gas oil amount that was missing is 105,927 liters. Aviation turbine kerosene, 252,000 liters. Electrical cables, 18 drums, all got missing. We still haven't found that yet. And this is the thrust of the conversation. People say that within a short space of time, these are the managing directors, management of TOR, yet we still haven't gotten our solutions to the problem. Since 2017, January 2017 to December 2019, that's within a space of 2 years, Isaac Osei was in charge of it. January 2020, April 2020, that is with just 4 months. So either some of them were sacked or some of them resigned on their own. Asante Kebeko, he did just 4 months. Now this is Francis Boateng, May 2020 to June 2021. That's about a year. Look at Edward Boateng. He did August 2021 to March 2022. That's also about a year. So you really, and then you look at the new managing director, Jerry Henson. He's done from 2022 March till date, about 1 year over there. So all of these within a short space have these people have been there to manage TOR, and we're still facing the challenge that we are facing. What really is in there for us if we continue to manage it, as a public entity? So this probably is giving reason why it should be there should be a private-public partnership. But then, are we having value for money? That is where the whole fuss is about. My guest tonight, Bryce Simons, he's Vice President in charge of research, Imani Ghana. Anthony Adongo is the chairman for the TOR senior staff of the Tema Oil Refinery. John Jinapor is the ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament. And Anthony Kumsin would also be joining us. He's the chairman of the Petroleum Union Senior Staff Association, TOR. Let me begin, and I want to welcome you, gentlemen, to this show. I'm grateful for your time. I will start with Bryce Simons, who has been questioning Torenco's capacity to revive TOR. He says the deal is shrouded in secrecy and that it seeks to favor cronies. I spoke with him earlier. Listen.
Trying to remedy is basically to restart the refinery, because the refinery has not been producing since sometime around March 2021. My position is that the transaction will not solve the problems of the Tema Oil Refinery.
Why?
And for that, we need to first start off with what are the problems, right?
Yeah.
And then we can conclude that it doesn't work. So the problems are primarily threefold. The first problem is that the refinery often doesn't have working capital to import crude, refine it, sell it, and pay back on good time.
Okay.
If the creditors give it credit, it's because of the previous challenge that it had, and it has to keep servicing debt and the rest of it. It keeps making losses, which keeps accumulating. The second problem is that the equipment are not in the most pristine state. So that also means that productivity is not very high. And the third problem is that for a long time, politicians keep hacking the board and the management with their favorites. That's made it very difficult to make strategic decisions that are sensible, rational, and the best interests of the company. So those are the three key problems. Now, our challenge with this deal is that it doesn't solve any of the three problems well, and it will worsen these problems. So number one, the group that have come together as a consortium to do this work does not have the track record, does not have the experience, and their activities and background are shrouded in a lot of controversy and murkiness. So the whole program started sometime in 2021 when the attempt was made to restart the refinery because the previous management did not want to continue with the arrangement that was allowing companies to bring their oil for them to refine and then hand back to them. So in the course of that, there was a management change. And the new management decided to enter into this new arrangement with a company called Decimal Capital. The founder of Decimal Capital was a CEO, and the owner of Decimal Capital was the CEO of the oil refinery, who had to resign because of bribery allegations by the United States government. So the United States government had decided to prosecute the gentleman because of what they claim were bribery allegations, conduct of bribery, where he had bribed certain Ghanaian officials in a project involving a power plant. So because of that, the person resigned, and a couple of years later, he set up a company to take over assets of TOR to refine oil. So this was called Decimal. But when this news came out, he then transferred his assets, or rather his shareholding, to somebody else, and the name of the company was then changed, first to Bay Bridge, and then later on to Torrentco. And so what has happened is that the people that this was transferred to, something called Daco Investment Capital Limited, does not have any track record whatsoever in the energy investment space. So that, first of all, creates great confusion because it's not entirely apparent to us where they're going to get the resources to do the work that they claim that they want to do. More important than not, a lot of the strength of this consortium, a lot of the appeal of this consortium lies in the fact that they claim TOR, which is a globally renowned commodity trading company, will give them the crude oil. But the documents that we've reviewed suggest that TOR is not going to give them this because TOR has not made any commitment to it. It's made it very clear that it's only expressed an interest to have conversations if the company is granted the lease. So there is really nothing concrete as to where they will get the crude oil to refine, where they will get the money to maintain the factory, and where is the technical capacity to revamp the refinery. So that's our number one problem. The group of people that have come in, how they've come together, who they are, what they've done before, etc. The second problem is that the amount of money they are proposing to pay is too small. It's smaller than what we were getting before the management said that that arrangement was too little or was insufficient to keep them running the refinery, for which reason they shut it down. What these people are proposing is less than $1.5 per barrel, and it's lower than what was being earned then. So in a sense, TOR is being shortchanged. And last but not the least, and perhaps most importantly, TOR needs big money to reform and to revamp and to shift its loss-making culture to a profit-making culture. In that regard, you need a much, much more equipped investor, an investor with the resources and the muscle to be able to achieve that transformation. And this entity, Torrentco, is not that entity.
How do you then respond to claims by TOR that, TOR has been struggling and that this is how it can be revived?
Well, I don't think TOR should give, what TOR says should give us a lot of confidence, because this is the same organization that ran itself into a ditch, right, for many, many years. If they knew what they had to do as TOR and as currently constituted, they wouldn't be in the ditch they are in. So what TOR tells us is good for TOR is not something that we should pay a lot of attention to. This is the same organization whose supervising minister claims have been stealing the products. Recently, it set up an interim management committee and issued press releases suggesting that a lot of the products that are produced at TOR are being stolen. We've seen a statement by the senior management and the senior personnel at TOR. But these are the same people that have been accused of running the refinery into a ditch. So what we are interested in is what is the objective person going to say if you look at all the facts. And all the facts suggest that TOR needs a huge amount of money to transform itself. We as citizens have paid more than $1 billion in special taxes purely for TOR to reform itself. Essentially, the government has taxed us billions of dollars, more than $1 billion over the last 10 years alone, to give to TOR for TOR to transform itself. And that has not been done. So to try and then get in an investor who is only committing to invest $22 million for capital investments and for refurbishment, and to pay you less than roughly $30 million a year in rent, when your last major capital investment was $230 million to fix the secondary plant, which is called RFCC, in the factory, tells you that this is completely disorganized. Because if $230 million was not enough, and that was just a partial renovation, how would $22 million make any difference? And then secondly, if you were earning $2.5 per barrel and it was not sufficient, and you kept making massive losses, how will earning $1.5 per barrel make a difference? TOR owes a lot of money. Every month that the interest rates compound. If TOR does not get the money that it deserves in order to pay off these debts, by the time the lease is over in 6 years, the debt of TOR will double. It's currently nearly $450 million. So in Ghanaian cedis, it's over 5 billion Ghana cedis. A company that owes that amount of money cannot allow that to double while it's taking small amounts of money just to keep going for 6 years. By the time 6 years is over, refinery overcapacity worldwide will create conditions in which the losses will keep compounding and TOR will be unviable for the long term.
Do you think this is born out of corruption or simply bad negotiation?
Well, it's born out of strategic incompetence. It doesn't. You have a problem, you solve the problem. So you have a problem with obsolete equipment. You have a problem with working capital needs. You have a problem where fundamentally you make losses because you're not set up right. You introduce a solution that addresses those problems. And the first solution is that you clear the debt using the taxes that have been paid to clear the debt. Once you've cleared the debt, you do an open, competitive process to bring the best investors with the most capacity to come on board. You don't go and do a secret deal. Nobody's aware of this. Everything is negotiated in darkness. Then you send it to the Public Procurement Authority to go and ratify it as a single sourcing arrangement. Remember, a single source arrangement. So there was no...
The new Chevy Silverado HD puts you in command. Own strength with its enhanced available Duramax 6.6-liter turbo diesel V8. Own the lake with its available advanced towing technology. And own technology with an available 13.4-inch diagonal touchscreen. The new Chevy Silverado HD. Own work, own play, own life. Learn more at Chevy.com. Find new roads. Chevrolet.
Attention Metro customers who ride the Orange Line. Starting Monday, June 26th through Sunday, July 16th, there will be no Orange Line service between Vienna and West Falls church stations due to rail replacement work. Free shuttle service will be available. For detailed information, call 202-637-7000 or visit WMATA.com. That's 202-637-7000 or visit WMATA.com.
Competition at all. And then once that has been decided, it gets leaked to us, and only then are we finding out. Were you aware as a journalist in the media that the government was doing this for Tamale Refinery? No. So you don't approach these things in the manner in which they have been approached. If your real goal is to solve the problem fundamentally. So our position is that it doesn't solve the problem. And what TOR needs is a capable investor. What TOR needs is competent and independent management, not crony arrangements, and this is a crony arrangement.
What should happen then if government decides to suspend this deal? Talks and consultation with CSOs?
Of course, there has to be openness. And CSOs, because of the fact that they spend time working on these issues, tend to be able to represent citizen interest, but also have enough knowledge to contribute. So openness and transparency and accountability will help. That's number one. Number two is that we must fix the things that we know have been damaging TOR. The first one is appointment of cronies into management positions, board positions, and things like that. The second one is doing these kind of deals in secrecy without using open competitive bidding. So whatever you need, do it on open competitive bidding basis. Give absolute independence to management and board members, and don't appoint your cronies into positions at all. The third issue is that we need to clear the debt, and we've paid enough taxes in this country to clear the debt, and we are still paying ESLA and taxes like that, which are supposed to clear the debt. So that has to happen. And then the fourth issue is that TOR has to be revamped in such a way that ultimately it will be listed on the stock exchange and it will run as a proper, profitable, commercial going concern. We have Central coming very soon, another refinery to compete with TOR. If TOR is not fixed in the next 1 or 2 years, we have lost the window. The last thing you want to do is to distract everybody with a deal that simply makes money for a few people, and it's not going to make any fundamental difference to the problems that TOR.
So that's Bright Simon. He is the Vice President of Imani Ghana in charge of research, and he's been making some very important revelations. One, he says there's the credibility of the company to actually revive TOR is at stake. He is also questioning the fact that Torrentco is going to more than the state. So, I mean, that will shortchange the state if that deal goes ahead. I'm happy Anthony Kumsen, who's chairman of the Petroleum Union Senior Staff Association, has joined us. All right, so we've lost Anthony Kumsen. Let me bring in John Jinapor. He's here with us. Jinapor, has the minority's attention been drawn to this whole issue, and what explains the silence?
Thank you very much. First of all, we've become aware of the challenge confronting the sector. Indeed, we had a meeting as a committee with TOR, I think during the early part of this year. And clearly, the refinery has a major challenge. If you would recall, way back from in 2017, and I refer to August 31st, the total energy sector debt was about 9.4 billion. TOR accounted for about 22.4%. So if you do a rough calculation, it meant that TOR's debt was about 2 billion as at August 2017. And so if you take a look at the Energy Sector Levies Act and the proceeds, indeed in 2021 alone, a total amount of 6 billion cedis accrued to the fund. And if you look at the energy debt recovery levy and the energy debt service account, TOR alone was getting about 400 million. So even if you look at 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, the amount that has accrued from the TOR debt alone and its components should be dealing with TOR's debt. Don't forget, the essence was to take off the liability from TOR's balance sheet, give it to an SPV, and service it with the TOR debt. So the whole 2 billion was supposed to be taken care of completely, so that they'll have a clean bill of health. But today, as we speak, TOR's debt, just the current liability alone, is over 4 billion. 4 billion Ghana cedi. So it means that the refinery is in a very difficult situation. No doubt about that. Now the question is, what is the way forward? And I think that Bryce Simmons has done a lot of justice to the issue, so I need not be repetitive. The first question you ask is that the company you are giving it to, what is their track record? I mean, it's standard. It's so basic that you should tell us what this company has done before. Have they handled a similar project? What was the outcome? Which countries did they work in? If you can't answer that, it becomes problematic. But even more worrying is the issue that they are going to refine about 8 million barrels a year. If you divide that by 365, it means that they are going to be refining just about 22,000 barrels a day. Or if it's well positioned properly with the requisite investment, can refine about 60,000 barrels a day. And the rule of thumb, even in refinery economics, is that normally you should do about 70,000 barrels. But if you are super efficient, if you have a very good refinery, you can still do 60,000 and make some profits. So I'm wondering how they are going to be able to do 22 barrels and still be in business. That is major for me. And it does appear that they want to use only the CDU. What happens to the RFCC? The CD is the primary one. What happens to the residual one? And what is government's overall long-term objective? Because 6 years is not mean a small time. Are you going to be doing this 22,000 barrels for the next 6 years when your consumption is increasing? And like you put out there, if you look at last year's figures, we consumed about 4 million liters of diesel and petrol alone. So clearly, if you do the analysis, you're simply not going to make any progress. But even more is the fact that they took this agreement to the Public Procurement Authority for approval, knowing that there is a Public-Private Partnership Act which stipulates that you must go to the Ministry of Finance and meet the PPA committee for an assessment before going to Public Procurement Authority. So if the Public Procurement Authority had not restricted them, you have had a major problem. And if you read the PPA letter, it does appear that there are several sub-agreements. So I think that government should pull the brakes, do further consultation, consult stakeholders, i.e. members of parliament, industry players, civil societies such as MANI and SF, and all those people, so that we can together fashion a way of dealing with TOR. You cannot deal with TOR's problem in a firefighting approach. It will not work.
Let me ask you this TOR debt, haven't we paid enough in terms of taxes to deal with this debt?
Absolutely. Because the TOR debt recovery levy, the levy itself was instituted in 2003. So it's over 20 years old now. In any serious country, we should be done with it. I mean, 20 years of paying TOR debt, if we had gathered all the money, I'm sure we would have built a completely new refinery as we speak. If you look at the cost of Dangote's refinery, which is one of the biggest, and you look at other refineries, with all the monies that we've paid, if we had even put all that money in a dedicated account, by now we should be building a completely new refinery. So it tells you that there's a lot of inefficiency. And you just showed the losses. Because in refinery economics, you face two challenges. You don't determine the price of your input, neither do you determine the price of your output. I.e., you don't determine the price of crude, and you don't determine the price of finished products such as petrol or diesel. It's regulated. So the only way you can survive is to be super efficient. But if each drum goes into the refinery and a chunk of it is stolen or cannot be recovered, you simply cannot make it. I think the government should take it easy, pull back, engage further. Let us all come to a good consensus and a roadmap. If you want to do some competitive bidding process, let's go through a competitive bidding process and set some benchmarks for whichever company is interested in handling TOR. TOR has some very, very good assets. Let me be frank with you. Their balance of equipment is very, very good. They are very good tanks. What you need is some level of efficiency, some level of accountability, and some capital injection. And I'm sure that once you're able to deal with some of these challenges, the refinery will be back on its feet and it will work efficiently and serve Ghana very, very well.
Anthony Compson, who is chairman of the Petroleum Union Senior Staff Association, is back on. Anthony, since 2018, TOR has been recording a profit net of negative, and the loss is in excess of 100 million Ghana cedis. This actually cements the reasons why there should be some privatization, or there should be a private partnership to actually revive TOR. Now, the chairman of the TOR Senior Staff Association said that you guys do not actually understand the whole import of this, and that is why you are opposing to this whole deal. In fact, he says that TORentco is the only solution they have. I mean, there's none available. Do you have any other option?
It's very interesting to hear this coming from Guy.
Hello, Anthony? Right, so I think there's a connection problem with Anthony. We'll try and get him back. John Jinapor, you're still on. Let me ask you, has the Mines and Energy Committee been briefed about this whole deal yet? And if you have not been briefed, do you intend to do anything soon?
We have not been briefed of this very particular.
Actually, every worker at TOR understands.
Okay. I think Anthony is back. Go ahead, Anthony. Hello, Anthony. We lost him again. So then let me come back to you, John Jinapor. I mean, you were making the point about the minorities' position.
Yes, I said that at the Mines and Energy Committee, this very agreement with TORentco did not come up for discussion. Indeed, TOR indicated that they were looking for a strategic investor. And usually, when you talk of a strategic investor, you are looking at an investor with the muscle, with the experience, with the technical know-how, with the financial muscle, and the links and the connections to, one, improve efficiency, two, expand the refinery, and three, project forward to increase the capacity of the refinery. Reading these documents, I don't find all of that in this current agreement. So I've spoken to chairman. Fortunately, we have a Mines and Energy Committee meeting running from Saturday, Sunday, Monday to Tuesday. And so I think that there is enough space to accommodate some of these emerging issues. We're going to be dealing with GNPC as well, and the issue with GOHL, the shares in the attempt to sell some of the shares to the South African company, Petro SA, and all that. And so with this emerging, I would talk to chairman again so that on the matter, on the basis of emergency, we can bring in TOR so we can deal with it. The fortunate thing is that PPA did not grant the approval, which means that we still have some time to engage further. And so we will take that on board. But we also want to hear from government in respect of its long-term plan for TOR. It's very, very important. You must have a plan. You must have a vision. You must have a strategic vision for TOR. What do you want the refinery to do? Because don't forget, government that earlier on stated that they were building a new refinery with a capacity of 150,000 barrels a day. They even indicated that they have secured funding, land, and promised that by 2022 that will come to pass. It has failed so far. It does appear that that is falling off the cliff. And so I think that government itself ought to convince itself what it intends doing with TOR. And then all of us can support government. But when we are not straightforward, we do not get the direction and the vision as to where we want the refinery to be, it becomes problematic. So you ask yourself, in 6 years, in 10 years, where would you want TOR to be? How many barrels would you want the refinery to process? What kind of refinery do you envisage to have? Knowing that demand in terms of petroleum products is increasing in the country. So I think these are issues that we, as members of parliament, as government, and as stakeholders, ought to engage further so that we can deal with some of these issues going forward. So we have a long-term plan, irrespective of the government, and also how we even get management. Can't we, for once, decide that as for TOR, we want to advertise and get the best crop of management for the company, taking into account that it's a strategic entity. Within 5 years, you have about 5 different chief executives. No refinery, no company would survive with 5 different chief executives. It takes about 6 months for you to appreciate the real challenges in an organization. And it takes about another 3 to 6 months for you to get a full foothold on your strategies and how you want to take the refinery forward. But even in this period of 5 years, there's this level of uncertainty, change and movement of chief executives and directors. You are going to have a major, major problem. And I'm not surprised that we're having these serious problems with TOR at this rate and at this pace. Unfortunately, I regret to say that this refinery is on the verge of collapse. And if nothing is done to comprehensively and holistically deal with the issues confronting TOR, one day the refinery will just shut down and nothing would happen again.
Especially because there's another company coming on board very soon that will be competing with TOR actually. Let me bring in Anthony back. Anthony Kumsen is back on the line. Anthony, earlier you were making the point that probably you have a better alternative for TOR, for TOR's revival.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think earlier on you outlined some of the things that our brother, our colleague, guys has been saying, and it's very unfortunate. It's very interesting which part of the refinery he's been working all this year. Every worker at TOR understands the nuances. Most workers understand the nuances and the involvement of private-public partnership, involvement in the operations of TOR. We have come to terms. All stakeholders are actually keenly looking forward for a partner with the requisite capacity and credibility to partner the refinery and then instill management control into the operations of the refinery. But what we are witnessing right now interestingly is a replica of ECG PDS scandal. The entity in question now has some board members fronting for them and micromanaging every activity to make sure that a lease is signed between Torenco and TOR. As workers, we asked for requisite information to understand the transaction that was ongoing. We were given the lease agreement, we perused it, we saw all the inconsistencies and the misrepresentations in it. We drew management attention to it, we drew board attention to it, and we only blacklisted and blackmailed. As we speak now, the refinery has two other options on its table. It has legacy capital that has come to survey the plan, have discussion with management, done presentation. Then we have Falcon American Oil that has done sales. Last week, the entire week, Falcon was with the refinery, did the presentation, engaged all staff, saw the plan, and they are yet to bring their proposal. We asked ourselves, if the entity that won the bid at the back of the TOR, misrepresenting the TOR and then winning the bid, if we have realized that the TOR does not have the kind of agreement they purported when they were doing their presentation, what is our motive? What is management or board interest? And what is Bright's interest? Pushing for Torenco, when all the evidence in the due diligence report, all the evidence in the lease agreement suggests that Torenco is a bad deal for us. In fact, we are better off not having a partner and looking for a competent partner with the required capacity and credibility than rush into Torenco and then plunge the refinery into the abyss. This is the position of most workers in the refinery. And so when you ask the right questions, you are termed as enemies. When this partner are actually calling individuals and asking them to establish their position, whether they are for the transaction or they are not for the transaction. So this is where we find ourselves now. We are praying very well that the stakeholders sit up, look at the document evidence available to them, and open up for other alternatives that are better, with enough the requisite capacity and credibility to offer the kind of partnership that we need in order to recover its image.
Today, you had a meeting with some CSOs. Which CSOs did you meet, and what were the issues that came up with regards to this deal?
Interestingly, there are a lot of CSOs that needed more discussions, some documents to support what is it that is being done, to speak to some other alternatives. Most of them want to understand what are the alternatives on the table, what are the presentations that these alternative entities have presented, what are their names, what are their capacities, off the decks, research about them. So you start to understand the alternative besides Torenco, knowing very well that every information that has been done around Torenco is a big omen for the refinery. And there are key stakeholders at board level who are fronting Torenco. We have union executives in the refinery who are representing, they are surrogates of Torenco in the refinery. And they push everything to make sure that this transaction is signed, knowing very well that they lack all the capacity that it takes. They have not worked anywhere, they are less than a year, but they don't even have the locals to even think that they want to partner the refinery. You can't give the refinery a bad name and then throw it to our cronies just to get the best out of it before the refinery collapse.
Well, I must say that Bright Adongo, who is chairman for the Senior Staff Association of TOR, was supposed to be on this program, but he says he can't join. We don't know the reason why he hasn't been able to join, but he's been saying that this is the only option that we have. Let me take a break on PM Express. When I return, we'll be going into what other options are available, because we all agree that TOR needs revamp. It needs to be revived, but we do not agree that Torenco is the one fit to do the job? Who then is fit to do this job? I must say also that PM Express is being sponsored by Cherry Tree Properties, and it says desires are wishes, beauty is the promise of happiness, but passion is everything. Thinking about buying a new home, talk to those who build with passion. And it says a new gated community development at Sakumono. It is developed by Cherry Tree Properties. You should contact 0553 662 366 if you want a property from Cherry Tree Properties. I'll be back shortly with more on PM Express.
Whiskey. Wash it. All of a sudden, my voice I different. And when you saw a call, barman, bring me the honey whiskey. You know the one? Black Rock whiskey.
Honey whiskey.
Shale, honey near their frau. Black Rock whiskey is strong. Now so taste me is smooth and it goes down easy. Excuse me. Barman, bring my friend one Black Rock whiskey.
Black Rock whiskey, blended with natural honey flavor.
Hey, what's up?
Barman.
Hey, what the over Sikanton Sata? You've been to a man, no?
Black Rock whiskey can be a feeling smoothness, no?
Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18 years of age and not recommended for pregnant women. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
My name is Tina. I am a person living with HIV. I got to know my HIV status after I gave birth and lost the child because of HIV. In those days, prevention of mother-to-child transmission services had low patronage due to fear and stigmatization. Today, many HIV-positive women have delivered negative children. I follow the guidelines and take my HIV medicine called ARVs every day, as prescribed by my doctor. This makes me strong and healthy, and also prevent me from passing HIV onto any future child. Please, avail yourself for PMTCT services when pregnant. It is the only way to ensure you do not pass the HIV onto your baby during birth or pregnancy. If you have tested for HIV recently and it was negative, test again when pregnant. If you have tested positive, go to the hospital after birth as directed by your healthcare provider. Your baby will be given medicine immediately and tested to ensure baby and mother are well. Let us work together to have an HIV-free generation.
Our children must be free to shine.
Your luxury. What if you could enjoy ultra luxury in the environs of Sakumono? What if you could have a share of affluence all to yourself? Step into our 5-bedroom executive Ohima suite or our 4-bedroom Oyster Asantua space or our 4-bedroom plush Kukwa unit and discover a whole world of possibilities. It's not just a building, it's a promise of a dream come true. Cherry Tree Properties. We develop spaces as though we were going to occupy them ourselves. Reach us on 0553 662 366 or 0544 299
EcoBank salary account, bro. With the EcoBank salary account, you will enjoy free life insurance, free debit card, save while you spend, and an amazing chance to double your salary. And even more consolation rewards in the EcoBank double salary promo reloaded.
Guy, this EcoBank salary account sounds interesting. What do you think? But maybe next time, Charlie, you know what? I'll go shine my shoe.
Hey! Yo, myself, I'll go check my BP.
We going up, never go down, and we stay fly.
Chairman, see the white sign it here.
Open an EcoBank salary account today for a lifetime of benefits. You also stand a chance to win more than double your salary in the EcoBank Double Salary Promo Reloaded from now till July 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
And the top life regardless.
Under the supervision of the National Lotteries Authority under the Caritas Lottery Platform. The Pan-African.
Can he tee up someone in red? And he goes to one.
Do not say!
What 5 champions league? You want to know?
I be the real goat. Sam, the real goat. The left magician. The left magician.
Who is the goat? Ghana Jollof or Nigerian Jollof?
Ghana Jollof has no co-equal. The smell alone. Oh my God.
For that shift. You two the lie. Now the same stew when they use cook the rice and then they go put them for top.
You are lying. Ghana Jollof.
I use this here. Forget everybody. Yeah, my guy. Put some respect on the goat.
On the goat. The only goat I know lives in Tama.
Every year we dey give to you back to back. We are talking about PET. I want some Yadia's face. Except be the goat, huh?
My guy, he be the goat.
Though our choice of goats may differ in football, music, and jollof, Alomo Bitters always brings us together. Alomo, experience greatness in every moment.
Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18 and recommended to pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
Research has it that malaria is one of the most deadliest diseases in this part of the world. So, whenever you're feeling cold, feverish, nausea, or fatigue, get tested. If it is malaria, do not worry. I have good news for you.
Let's all come back. Malaria's spread of
Malaria's remedy is Lonat. Therefore, we're gonna use Lonat to recover. You have malaria?
Yes, please.
Are you shivering?
Yes, yes.
You got chills?
Yes,
Take
yes.
Lonat.
Lonat.
First day.
Lonat.
Take Lonat.
Let's all
Second day.
Lonat.
Take Lonat.
Lonat.
Third day.
Lonat.
Take Lonat.
Malaria's spread of Lonat.
That's all. Lonat scatter malaria. Lonat it is scatter malaria.
A quality product from Blaze GVS Pharma.
Even the builders of his house and sellers of his cars give him a percentage for every contract he brings. My opponent sits here and turns against the motion for 170 for making money legally. Wrong! Hey.
The biggest debate competition in Ghana is back. Which side do you represent? For or against the motion? Stay glued to your superstation Love 99.5 FM, Joy Learning and Joy Prime as we bring to you the biggest stage where schools in Ashanti show their prowess through debate. Rally behind your alma mater to glory as gallant young men and women from the various senior high schools in Ashanti elucidate their stance on matters of national interest.
Venue is the Christian Service University College.
Catch us live on Love 99.5 FM, on Facebook at Love 99.5 FM, Joy Learning and Joy Prime, 2 p.m. each day. The Love FM High Schools debate, trumpeting the voice of young ones on issues of national interest. This event is brought to you by your superstation Love 99.5 FM, the Ashanti Regional SRC, and the Regional Directorate of Ghana Education Service Ashanti and CHAS.
This program is in partnership with Pepsodent, Rasta Chocomold from Twillium Industries, Christian Service University College, Jackson Educational Complex, Cowbell, Madam Catherine, Fritol and Fortune Rice from Wilma, and sponsored by Zest Consult, Pidato Company Limited, CBS Industries, Top Choco, Ultimate Fashions, Flora Tissues. Supported by
HD, the new exciting football channel, is now available only on HD Plus and brings you football from around the world. Watch Sadio Mane and Daniel Kufitre in the top weekly match of the Bundesliga 1 and DFB Cup, Primera Liga, Copa de la Liga Profesional. See Ronaldo in the Saudi Pro League, as well as daily sports news every other hour. Also, get updated on Messi and Mbappe on PSG TV and many more. Feely on HD Plus channel 151. Agrona Ede, HD Plus, the Feely experience.
Welcome back to PM Express. We're having a conversation about TOR's revival and the fact that a private company, Torrentco, is in a deal about to be sealed with TOR to manage the company. But the question has been, does it have the credibility? Does it have what it takes to manage the company? But more importantly, the state, is the state being shortchanged? Is Torrentco going to gain more than the state in this deal? John Jinapor, I want to ask you this. Do you agree with CSOs that this sweetheart deal is going to shortchange the state? What then should be the way forward if government then decides not to go ahead with this again?
First of all, government ought to do a proper analysis of what are the challenges, what are the issues, what are the short-term issues, what are the medium to long-term issues. Management, how do you deal with it? But I think the first problem TOR faces is management. If you don't have the right management in place, no matter the amount of money you sink into the refinery, you wouldn't have the required or expected results. I think that we should take politics out of TOR. Let's get the best brains, those with the requisite experience, those with the technological know-how, those with the managerial competence to get into TOR first of all, so they can do a proper situational analysis. After that, you look at all the strengths TOR has, the weaknesses, what are the opportunities, the threats they face. Like I said, new refineries are coming. And these are new refineries with new technology. So how is TOR going to compete with them? Will TOR want to do some strategic partnership with these new refineries or not? These are issues that I think ought to be brought to the table. Then after all these stakeholder engagements, we can then determine that this is where we want TOR to be. This is the roadmap. Maybe we have a 10-year plan for TOR. Then you break them into yearly targets and even monthly targets and see how you can start going forward. But more importantly, any strategic investor that you are bringing to TOR, please let's ensure that we have an experienced strategic investor. A strategic investor with the financial muscle. Because the last time I checked, the MD was saying that TOR requires about $500 million. Nobody will come and sink $500 million into TOR in its current state. You ought to reposition it, and you ought to ensure that it is attractive so that would-be investors will be enticed to participate in the refinery business. I believe that when we begin to do some of these issues and also clear the balance sheet of TOR, because nobody will want to come and assume all these liabilities, and apply the energy sector levies for their intended purpose. If you read the energy sector levies report, the Minister of Finance appears to be taking some of the money and using it for non-energy related expenditure. When you do that, it doesn't engender confidence. I believe that when you do some of these key things, it would attract the needed investment. And once you get the private sector involved, I believe that the refinery will be much more efficient and it will work well.
At the committee level, though, how do you intend to get government to do this?
We can make recommendations, but the truth is that the key decision-making rests with government. Parliament has oversight responsibility. And oversight would normally mean that we either look at your accounts, sometimes audited accounts, or you need approval from Parliament to do something. And Parliament might just give some broad guidelines. But the day-to-day running of the refinery, management and its issues, economic decisions, financial decisions, these are decisions taken by the current government. And I'm worried that in the energy sector, there appear to be too many scandals. EDS, Ameri, AXA, TOR, Bost scandal, just mentioned them. And I asked myself, what is in this energy sector that under this government, almost every sector within the energy sector appears to be having so many scandals? Something must be wrong somewhere. Who are those interested in pushing their own interests to the detriment of the nation? Why do people want to push some particular deals through? Why do they want to push some particular companies through? And what is their interest? Why can't you put the national interest above any other interest? So these are major issues that I think that we need some reforms and ensure that there's a high level of transparency and a high level of accountability when it comes to the management of TOR.
Anthony, how does your group your union intend to get government's attention to understand your frustration with this deal?
Objectively to all the state institutions, either Ministry of Energy, the Finance Ministry, we have written to all those that are in these decision-making positions to actually review the Toronto deal based on the due diligence report, and then look at the other options that are on the table of management.
Do you want the deal reviewed or cancelled?
The data, the information we have, the due diligence report suggests that, and then the route at which the route where Toronto is now on the table with us suggests that there's been a lot of misrepresentation, a lot of irresponsible decisions that have been taken at certain levels, because the entity that bidded and won for this transaction is not the entity we are dealing with now. It has changed its name, it has changed its ownership, and we keep seeing funny, interesting things happening, suggesting that if objectivity is put on the table for decision-making purposes, then Toronto shouldn't be on the table in the first place. Other entities that have approached the refinery with the requisite capacity, we are asking for all the terms of the Falcon American Oil. We have asked for the terms for Legacy or Capital, so that we will peruse them. We will ask the necessary based on which we can say that, okay, the information available to us and the presentation done to us so far. If you walk into the refinery right now and do off-the-table research, everybody will tell you that Falcon is the way to go, simply because of the presentation they made. But it goes beyond that. We need to do a lot more due diligence on Falcon or on Legacy to establish which one will be suitable for the refinery. We cannot just jump and say that because Falcon said that they were going to make available $200 million to the refinery to fix some key equipment that are broken down and all that, we are just going to jump into that and say Falcon should. No. The proper due diligence measures must be put in place
to ensure that government is not shortchanged. I'm grateful for your time. Anthony Kumse, his chairman for Petroleum Union Senior Staff Association of TOR. John Jinapor is a ranking member for the Mines and Energies Committee in Parliament, and Bart Simmons is the Vice President of Imani Africa in charge of research. Grateful, gentlemen, for your time. My name is Aisha Brian. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.